Okay, so let's start. It's one that I'm joining with. Just not. Kindly retry. Because it's showing twice my screen. Okay, so today's class is more of uh, a theory class. If has anyone opened the material that I sent? I'm asking a question. Has anyone opened the material
Yes,
that I
sir.
sent? If you look at the material, basically today is just more of just want to look at the ethical issues, EFCC, their function, their duty, and the rest. So this class should approximately in an hour. Hopefully, we should be done with it. It does not contain any te technicality. It does not contain any technicality. As long as I am concerned, and then we should be done. So today we'll be looking, and this topic as simple as it look like, because you have to read, to get some functions and duty, as simple as it look like, it is highly examinable, it is public sector. So we would like to ask, what are the functions, the duty of EFCC, ICPC, and the rest, and the rest. So why do you think we need ethical issue in public sector and finance? The reason why we need the ethical issues because we can be accountable. I said it in our previous class. I said public sector uh, breathe on public fund, meaning that they run the government based on public fund. When we say public fund means my money and your money. That means the tax that we pay, the revenue from the natural resources that me and you should be enjoying. So if they are getting fund from things that me and you should be enjoying, definitely what it means is that they need to be accountable to us. So that is why transparency is very, very important. It's a key element. It's a key element. If they are not transparent, what it means is that my resources and your resources are not adequately utilized. So that is why we have some agencies come in line to check if if the fund provided, the fund that belongs to me and you, that the government are using to run the administration of the country or the state, are adequately utilized. I don't know why this person is telling me that I'm not letting him in. Look at her name. It's appearing 3 times. Zoom will not allow you to enter now. Kindly retry. I don't know. Kindly retry. I'm seeing 3. I'm seeing your name twice. Okay. So let's continue. So the reason why we have all these bodies is to ensure that nobody is using public funds anyhow. Nobody is nobody is misusing public fund. Do you understand? So that is why we have all these agencies to curb the increasing cases of corruption, fraud, greed, financial crimes, and to improve Nigeria's international image before accountability bodies like Transparency International, the federal government of Nigeria established various regulatory laws and anti-corruption agency. And 2 key agencies are EFCC and ICPC. So basically, the reason why we have these 2 agencies is to what? Is to combat what? Fraud, is to combat financial crime, is to combat what? Corruption, is to combat greed, and is to ensure that we are what? There is accountability. These are the 5 reasons why we have these 2 regulatory bodies. The 2 major ones are what? Are the EFCC and the ICPC. If you look at it in the real sense, these are the 2 bodies that goes out after our public office holders. Literally, what this body should be independent. They should be independent, meaning that they will be free to conduct their duty without no influence. So now let's look into the first one. The first one is what? The EFCC. EFCC is what? Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. The EFCC is empowered to prevent, investigate, and sanction economic and financial crime in Nigeria. So you need to know, EFCC, they are saddled with the responsibility to do what? Sanction economic and financial crime. Economic and financial crime in Nigeria. It also enforces several laws relating to financial crime, like the Money Laundering Act, advanced fee fraud, failed bank, when bank failed due to financial malpractice, Bank and Other Financial Institution Act, now BOFIA, and Miscellaneous Offense Act. That means all those acts, all these 5 acts, is being enforced by EFCC, meaning that if there's any non-compliance of those acts, EFCC can take it up, because all these 5 acts are ascribed under financial regulation crime. So we need to know what are the duties of EFCC. Duties of EFCC. The commission is responsible for 1, enforcing and administering the EFCC Act. That one, you don't even need to cram it. Just say, what is the duty of EFCC? They are to enforce and ensure that the EFCC Act is in administration. That means people are obeying by the EFCC Act. You have to enforce it. That is one of the duty. The second duty is to investigate every financial crime, such as advance fee fraud, money laundering, counterfeiting, contract scam, computer and credit card fraud. That is one of their duties also. They are to investigate every financial crimes. Other one is to coordinating enforcement of all economic and financial crime law. Coordinating and enforcing all economic and financial crime law. The next one is preventing and eradicating economic and financial crime. Another one is tracing, fixing, confiscating, and seizing proceeds of crime and terrorist financing. Another one is conducting investigation and determining financial loss suffered by victims. Collaborating with local and international agencies is part of their duty. Monitoring international financial crime and suspicious transactions is part of their duty as well. Maintaining records, statistics, and data on financial crime. Conducting research and advising government on anti-crime measures. Supervising, coordinating prosecution of financial crime in consultation with the Attorney General, and carry out any other function necessarily to achieve its objective. All these are the duties of the EFCC. If you look at all these duties, one thing is common, is that they are basically, their duties is centered around economy and financial crime. Economy and financial crime. So it is not, they are self-explanatory looking at it. So what you need to do is, after the class, you need to at least, this duty, you need to know at least 5 of it. At least 5. And to know 5, the first one is enforcing and administration of the EFCC Act. That one is a no-brainer. The second one, too, investigating financial crime like money laundering, advanced fraud fee. That one too is It's a no-brainer. The third one is coordinating all economic and financial crime law. That is their major core. So even if you don't remember all these duty, the fact that you must know that EFCC is established to do what? To curb what? Economic and financial crime law. So everything that you'll be writing as duty should speak to economic and financial crime law. But try as much as possible to notify all the duties. Another one, now let's go to the power. What are the powers of EFCC? The commission has power to, one, investigate any person suspected of committing financial crime. They have power to investigate person whose lifestyle exceed their legitimate income. They have power to enforce relevant financial crime law, including both fair and money laundering laws. They have power to enforce any other law relating to economic and financial crime. You can see what are their power. They have power to investigate any person that they suspect that is committing financial law. That's why some of the time you see all these EFCC people on the road. They can stop any Yahoo boy, any person they suspect to be a Yahoo boy, and then they can investigate. If they see a young guy of 18 years old driving a car worth 500 million, naturally the lifestyle does not cannot speak to the age and the economic condition of that person. So they have the right to they have the power to investigate such person. Also, they have the power to enforce all relevant financial crime law and any other one that relates to economic and financial crime. Please, power and duties are different. Duties can stand as functions, but power is different from duty. Now, offenses and penalty under the EFCC Act. If it is financial malpractice, the penalty is 5 years imprisonment or 50,000 fine or both. That is under the EFCC Act. If it is terrorism related offense, it is what? It is life imprisonment. If the offense is committed by a public officer are people in government, other civil servant, the penalty is 15 to 25 years imprisonment. Retaining proceeds of crime, at least 5 years imprisonment or fine of 5 times the value or both. Economic and financial crime generally, it is 15 to 25 years imprisonment. All property acquired through illegal act are fortified to the federal government upon conviction. So what it means is that these are bucket of several offenses, and these are the penalty. Now, if it is committed by a public office holder, then the property that the person acquired under that scheme will be what? Will be fortified. You can see it happens in our government. I think there was one man lately now. Is he Malami or something that the EFCC sees his property. So EFCC can investigate anyone. They have the power if they suspect that you commit financial crime, and if you are found guilty, the punishment differs. Because for me, this financial malpractice 5 years, it might be more than that, depending on the degree or the amount of the fund involved. Any question before we move to ICPC? Any question before we move to ICPC? So what it means is that this EFCC, once we are reading it, all we need to do is know 5 of their duties, know 5 of the power, and the punishment at the same time. Now let's move to the second one. The second one is the ICPC. ICPC is Independent Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Commission. The ICPC was established under the Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Act of 2000. It is a corporate body with perpetual succession and legal personality. What are the duties? The duties are: one, receive, investigate, and prosecute corruption offenses. Two, review system and procedure of public bodies that encourage corruption. Advise and assist public institutions on fraud prevention. Recommend changes to reduce bribery and corruption. Mobilize public support against corruption. So if you look at EFCC and ICPC very well, EFCC is combating what? Economic and financial crime, while ICPC is all against what? Corruption. Anything that you can use to curb corruption. But it is, when you say corruption, before you can corruption can comes in, corruption has a lot of legs. Financial malpractice is a form of corruption. It's a form of corruption. But basically, ICPC just focus on corruption. But in Nigeria, ICPC and EFCC work hand in hand. Even sometimes you cannot draw a distinctive line between the two of them. The jurisdiction of their power, you cannot just draw a distinctive line. But the basic thing is that EFCC is for economic and financial crime, while ICPC is for corrupt practices. Offenses and penalty under ICPC are: accepting or gifting gratification, 7 years imprisonment. Gratification through agents, 7 years imprisonment. Fraudulent acquisition or receipt of property, 7 years imprisonment. Offense through postal system, 3 to 7 years. Frustrating ICPC investigation, 7 years imprisonment. Making false statements or returns, 7 years imprisonment. Bribery of public officer, 5 years imprisonment with hard labor. Abuse of office for gratification, 5 years imprisonment. This one has no fine option. Inflation of contract price, 7 years imprisonment plus 1 million fine. You can see that for ICPC, they don't have any power. It's only duty that they have. But for EFCC, they have both power and duty. So if they want to ask you this kind of question, it is the duty. They'll tell you, mention 5 duty of EFCC and 5 duty of ICPC. And they can now ask you to mention their offenses and penalty. Code of conduct for public officer. The 5th schedule, part 1 of the 1999 Constitution, provide ethical rule guiding the behavior of public officer. It states that a public officer must not place himself in a position where personal interest conflicts with official duty. This statement, that is what is in the Constitution. In reality, that is not what we do. Our personal interests come over our official duty. Restriction on specific officer. A public officer must not receive emolument from more than one public office. Exception where the officer is not on full-time appointment or where the officer does not engage in private business. Farming is permitted for all public officers. This thing, what it means is that if you work with Ministry of Finance, you cannot be a staff of another ministry in another state. Let's say you work with the federal government, Ministry of Finance. You are now also working, because you are from Ogun State. You are now also working in one ministry in Ogun State. No. That means you are getting a monument from 2 public office assignments. Exception is if the person is not on full time. Let's say you are not on full time. Maybe you are on part time in one, and then you are on full time in one. 2, if it's farming, yes, you are allowed to do your farming. You're allowed to do your farming. That means that's your personal business. That is, you are doing that farming as your personal business. But it is not allowed for you to be under 2 employment and then you are receiving remuneration. This used to happen before. It used to happen before whereby you see somebody is a lecturer in one school, is also a lecturer in another government school. It's until they introduce this, there is this thing that they introduce for salary. There is this scheme that they introduced for salary. That scheme, there is this identifier code that an individual will have. So once they input that identifier code, it will bring out every ministry that you are collecting money for. So they told them that, oh, you have to be only one. There is this scheme. We'll still talk about this scheme. We'll still talk about this scheme. This scheme that they introduced, that it features people holding two public office
Sir, is it
employment.
IPs? Is it IPs?
IPSS. Yes, IPSS. So IPSS, yes, I thank you so much. IPSS was introduced so that it will take out public office holders having employment in two or more uh, workspace. So IPSS was introduced. The IPSS, once they plug in, you see, oh, you are working for Unilag, working for LASU, working for Oyo State University. No, it does not work. It has to be one. You cannot be collecting money from government in three different government institutions. It has to be one. IPSS was introduced to curb that. A lot of things was introduced to curb a lot of shenanigans in public office spaces. A lot of things were introduced. IPSS was one of it. Even TSA was introduced to curb a lot of things too. So by the time we get to TSA, we'll talk about it. Prohibition of foreign account. The foreign officers must not maintain or operate a foreign bank account. President and vice president, governor and deputy governor, ministers and state commissioner, members of the National Assembly and State House of Assembly, any other officer prescribed by National Assembly. This is what the law says. But we know in our Nigeria, is the other way round. But this is what the law say. The code of conduct for public office or public office. That is what it says. That you cannot. It is prohibited. Retired public officer. A retired public officer receiving pension shall not hold more than one remunerative public position. What it means is that if your position, your public office position must not be more than one. Because if you have more than one, what it means is that when you want to be receiving your pension, you can be receiving two or three. It's the same thing as the first restriction, which is restriction on specific office. Imagine if somebody work with very different government agencies and then you get the person retire. What it means is that the person will be doing what? You'll be getting pension from LASU, getting pension for Lagos University and getting pension from University of Ibadan. So it should not be more than one. Such officer shall not receive additional public fund beyond pension and one approved appointment. Former holders of the office of President, Vice President, Chief Justice, Governor, and Deputy Governor are prohibited from employment in foreign companies. Gift of or benefit in kind. A public officer must not demand or accept gift or benefit in the discharge of his duty. Personal gift from relative or friend recognized by custom are allowed. So that is what the law says. You must not accept gifts as a public office holder. But we know that this thing in Nigeria, reverse is the case. Okay, Madam Chizzy, you can go ahead with your question.
Good evening, sir. I wanted to tell you to allow my friend in. She has been waiting. Her name is Faith Chiso.
Eh, I can't see her. I can't see her. This is, you can see the screen. I can't see her. What she's doing is that she's trying to enter with two emails.
Okay,
And
okay, okay.
and I've been saying that just try only one.
It's all right. Let me tell her, sir.
Try only one. I don't know why.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so let's Let's continue. Gifts. Bribery of public officer. A public officer shall not receive any property, gift, or benefit as a bribe in exchange for official favor. That
Hey,
is
in
what
Nigeria,
in Nigeria. That is what the code is
this one doesn't
saying.
happen in Nigeria. Oh.
Don't do this one. Most of everything, gift income. A public officer are not accepting gifts. If you want to win any contract in Nigeria, you must you must find your way. Even if you want to get common employment in public offices, you must. But this is what the code says. You know, when they sat down and bring out all this code, you can come up with any code. Is the enforcement of that code that is the main thing, and the compliance with that code. Another one is abuse of power. A public, okay, she's on. Okay, let me see if she has entered. I have admitted her now. Hopefully it will be fine. Now, abuse of power. A public officer must not abuse his office by acting arbitrarily or prejudicing the right of others. You see, this one we do it well. The one this man is doing, what's his name? I don't know. The man in, the man in Abuja. I don't know. I shall not mention anybody's name. The man in Abuja deciding to just abuse people's power, take anybody's land, will tell you that this land you did not develop it, they'll take it, do this and the rest. You are using your power, you are using your position to do what? To abuse the right of others. Membership of society. A public officer shall not belong to any society incompatible with the dignity of his office. This is very straightforward. The next one is declaration of assets. Every public officer shall declare assets within 3 months of assuming office. We declare every 4 years and at the end of the tenure. Declaration must include property, asset, liability, asset of unmarried children under 18. So you can see again. I'm seeing her name twice. Face Chisom again. I don't know if it's the phone. See, I'm admitting. See, joining. That's what it will be saying. So this declaration of assets, so for every governor or every public office holder, once you assume the office within 3 months, you have to declare what you have. After every 4 years, you have to keep declaring what you have. Then at the end of your tenure, you have to say, oh, this is what I have now. So we can evaluate. Did you come there to sweep all our money? But the right thing is, I don't know if this our president declare his asset or any of the governor. I've seen them as they swear them in after 3 months, they will come and say, hey, I declare my asset too. I don't know. But these are things that they should do. Code of Conduct of Bureau established under Part 1, Third Schedule of the 1993 Constitution. What is the power of the Code of Conduct Bureau? You know, we are still talking about what we started to talk about was the Code of Conduct for public officer. Now, Code of Conduct Bureau. Code of Conduct Bureau. So there is difference between Code of Conduct. Please, I'm still unable to join. I don't know. I'm seeing to. I think Mr. Josiah used to have this issue before, but how did you go about it? Mr.
Sir?
Josiah, I used to see your name appear before. How did you go about it as an advisor?
I think he's using 2 emails.
Yes,
he should check the email. Let him check the email that is connected to his the right email. Let him use one email or one name. Sometimes when I want to enter, I'll have 2 of my emails appearing. So you should also check it. I also check network. Thank you.
I let me advise her on the group because he's looking as if see now. If I should check her, I'm very sure she's part of those people. Please use one email. That's why she has been trying to join. Then it's not. Okay, so you can help me advise her on the group. Okay, so Code of Conduct of Bureau. This is established under Part 1, third schedule of the 1999 Constitution. What are the power of the Code of Conduct of Bureau? The Code of Conduct of Bureau shall, 1, receive asset declaration from public officer, examine and retain the declaration, make declaration available for public inspection, ensure compliance with the code of conduct, receive and investigate complaint, refer serious cases to the code of conduct tribunal, perform other functions assigned by the National Assembly. These are their power. In the real sense, are they doing it? Is there any governor or any senator that we have access to a copy where the person declare his assets? So in the kind of government that we have or country that we have, most of all these things, they are good when they are making them, but the enforcement of all those things is key. The enforcement is lacking in a country as Nigeria. Code of Conduct Bureau, Code of Conduct Tribunal. So now, see, this is another one. They can ask you what are the power of Code of Conduct Bureau. They can ask you again, Code of Conduct for Public. Mention 6 items under the Code of Conduct for public officers. The items are 1, restriction on public office position, prohibition of foreign account, retirement officer, gift and benefits, bribery, abuse of power, membership of association, and declaration of assets. Where if they ask you code of conduct of bureau, their power, these are their power that we just finished. Now, code of conduct tribunal. Code of Conduct Tribunal, the composition, they have 1 chairman and 2 other members. What are the punishments imposed by the tribunal? If a public officer is found guilty, the tribunal may order 1, removal from office or legislative seat. If they find the public officer guilty, they will either say, oh yeah, terminate the employment of that person or remove that person. 2, disqualification from public office up to 10 years. That's like suspending, you are suspending the person up to 10 years. 3rd one, seizure and fortification of illegal acquired property. 3rd one, additional penalty under criminal law and persecution in a court of law.
Can you confirm you can hear me and then you can see my screen?
Who is that, Mr. Peter? What are you playing?
Can you make the screen is blocked? Can you make it look bolder, sir? Thank you.
Sir, you are. Hello, Mr. Peter. Mr. Peter, you are playing another recorded video in our class. Can you hear me?
Sorry, sir. Sorry.
How many class a live class is going on? I can hear my voice again for a class that we have done like 2 weeks ago.
Sorry, sir.
Okay. So, general rule. What are the general rule? Appeals lies with the Court of Appeal. Prerogative of mercy does not apply. Public Accounts Committee. Public Accounts Committee. This one too is very important. I have seen question on PAC. They will ask you what is the role of PAC, Public Accounts Committee. A Public Account Committee is a legislative committee established to 1, examine Auditor's General Report, investigate fraud and misappropriation, report findings to National or State Assembly. Those 3 are their 3 responsibilities. Those 3 are their major primary objective. If they ask you what is the objective of the Public Account Committee, the first thing is to examine the Auditor General Report, investigate if there's any fraud or misappropriation, report the findings to the National Assembly. What are their roles? If you see their roles must align with their objective, these 3 objectives. First one is, it said, examine appropriation account and Auditor General Report. You can see. The second one is ensure funds are spent as approved by the legislator. 3, report cases of waste, loss, and financial misconduct. Has power to summon person and demand record. Examine statutory corporation account. Review overruled audit query. Investigate policies and non-appropriate account. So basically, they don't have execution power, but what they do is that they have the power to oversee. This about 7 or 8 are the roles of the Public Accounts Committee. It is just a committee set up to review what? One, to review the Auditor General's report, examine fraud and misappropriation, and then report their findings to the National Assembly. So they don't have power to enforce, but they can oversee. That is their role. They can ask you, what is the weakness? The weakness of Public Account Committee. The weakness of Public Account Committee are one, there are frequent turnover of members. That means if one person is here today, by the next one, they can change the person. It's another person is there. So the member does not have a statutory member, like the member are not stagnant. It is frequently changing. Frequent turnover of member, low interest in accountability measure. You can't use it as a form of accountability. Difficulty separating policy from administration. Lack of technical expertise among members. See, Mr. Joshua is even showing twice for him. Weak rules governing testimony, heavy reliance on the Auditor General's office. Because what they do is they review what the Auditors General submit as report. So they rely so much on the report of the Auditor General. What it means is that if the Auditor General did not submit his report, then they don't have anything to do. So they rely solely on the report of the Auditor General. Judiciary and court. The judiciary is a core institution of constitutional democracy alongside the legislature and the executive. What are the characteristics of a good judiciary system? Number 1, impartial, political neutrality, permanency, independence, professionalism, security of tenure, judiciary immunity, and adherence to due process. All these are characteristics of a good judiciary system. But in Nigeria, are we seeing this in our judiciary body of the government? Function of a good judiciary arm. 1, they interpret the as you even ask us, what is the function of the judiciary? The 3 arms of government. We have 3 arms of government: the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary. The judiciary are the one that interpret the law. Which arm makes the law? I'm asking us a question. Which arm makes the law?
The
The
legislature.
Which arm?
The legislative arm.
Okay, which arm executes the law?
The executive.
Executive. So the judiciary interprets the law. So they interpret the constitution and law. They settle dispute between government and citizen. They protect human rights and liberties, advise the executive and legislative on sensitive matter, punish offenders, determine election petition and electoral dispute. These are a no-brainer, and it is well testable. The way they will ask it, they will ask you, they will give you a story and they will ask you what are the characteristics of a good judiciary system and what are the functions of a good judiciary system. What they are asking you is this and this. I have seen in past questions. That's why I am saying this. Now, I think this is the last part of the class, which is what the Nigerian Nigeria Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative Act of 2007, NEITI, Nigeria Extractive Industrial Transparency Initiative. You know, the extraction industry, it is a very big industry. When you extract means that you are digging in and then you are bringing out natural resources from the ground. Because those natural resources are naturally our resources. It belongs to me, it belongs to the public office holder. And there must be an act that governs the operation within the extraction industry. That is why we have this act. What is the objective of this act? One, the objective is to ensure transparency in payment by extractive company. You can see payments, yeah, all this your license payment, mining license, the payment they are the one that ensure that there is transparency, that yes, the money is allocated, is paid at the right time, and is paid to the right account, and the money is adequately utilized. The next one is their objective is to monitor government revenue from extractive industry. So now, if we have 4 extractive industry, A, B, and C. A said, he paid 1 million. B said he paid 1 million. C, 1 million. D, 1 million. And from the federation account, I'm seeing revenue from extractive industry, 2 million. What it means is that the federal government did not account for all the money that was paid. If from the book of the company it was actually seen that it has been paid, then what I should have in the federation account as revenue from extractive industry should be 4 million. So it is the aim of the act, NEITI, to ensure that the monitor government that revenue from extractive industry are adequately presented. Eliminate corruption in revenue collection is the same as what I just explained up there. Promote accountability in resources management. Promote accountability with resources management. And align Nigeria with Global Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative standard. So there is a Global Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative standard that governs the operation of an extractive industry. So this act align with that global standard. So we align with this act means that we are aligned with the global standard for extraction industry. So please, they can ask you what is your objective of NEITI. If you have been checking past questions, you will see it there. What is their function? Their function must align with their objectives. That is one other scope that you need to know. Anything that has objective, their function of their duty must be is usually coined out from the objective. Now, see, function number 1, develop transparency framework. It's coined out from there. Evaluate industry and government practices, monitors government investment, obtain production and sales record, verify revenue payment. You can see, if I'm seeing from an extractive company, they paid 1 million. Let me see that 1 million in the federation account. Identify lapses in revenue monitoring, publish revenue report, and ensure statutory disbursements are made. These are all the functions of NEITI. Appointment of an external auditor. NEITI appoint independent auditor annually. Auditor conducts financial and physical audit. Report are sent to the National Assembly. Auditor General. NEITI submits biannual report to the President and annual and National Assembly. What we are saying is that for NEITI, they will employ an independent auditor to do what? To audit all the extractive industry and give their reports to them. That report will be sent to the National Assembly and the Auditor General. So what it means is that if you are trying to look at all those extractive industry to ensure that what they need to remit was adequately remitted, then what it means is that on the government part too, the amounts remitted must be shown and must be adequately monitored and utilized by the government of Nigeria. National Stakeholder Working Committee function. This function is to formulate policy and strategy, approve NITI budget and working plan, monitor performance of NITI. Penalty under the NITI Act is it that false reporting or underpayment, any extractive company that reports when you need to report all your revenue and then you now under report your revenue, or the payment you make is under you made an underpayment, the minimum fine will be 30 million naira fine. 2, court may order payment of outstanding revenue. Failure to provide information, 30 million fine. Or what? License will be suspended or revoked. The director is liable to what? 2 years imprisonment or 5 million fine. Government official is liable to 2 years imprisonment or 5 million fine. So basically, we have only two. The first one is if you do false reporting or underpayment. The second one is when you say failure to provide information. Those are the two offenses and the penalty as thus. First one, if you do false reporting or underpayment, the penalty will be minimum of 30 million fine or court may order repayment of the outstanding revenue. 2, if it's failure to provide information, the penalty will be 30 million fine or your license will be suspended or revocated, or the directors of that extractive company will be liable to 2 years imprisonment or 5 million fine. Or if it's a government official that is involved, that is concealing the offense with you, it is 2 years imprisonment or 5 million fine. So okay, that's the end of the class. But basically, let me do a run over and where you should actually be looking out for question is 1, this NEITI, they can ask, if they want to ask you anything here, they will ask you 1, the objective, they'll ask for the function, and they'll ask for the penalty under NEITI. If they want to ask, that's the 3 places they can ask. I hope you are writing them down. 2, they can ask you for EFCC and ICPC. They will ask you to do what? To write the duties or function of EFCC or duties or function of ICPC. And they will ask you the offense and penalty under both EFCC and ICPC Act. That is 2. What they can ask again, they will ask you that the code of conduct for public officer, that you should mention 5 code of conduct that it is clearly stated under the 5th schedule for public office holder. They can ask that. So what they're expecting is that you should write restriction on specific office, you explain it, prohibition of foreign account, you explain it, retired public officer, you explain it, gifts or benefits in kind, you explain it, bribery of public office officer, you explain it to say that, oh, it's a public officer shall not receive so abuse of power. Public officer shall not abuse of power by prejudicing the right of others. Membership of association. Public officers should not belong to any incompatible society. That is what I mean by explaining it. And declaration of assets. Public officer must declare the asset 3 months after assuming office and every 4 years or at the end of the tenure. They can ask you to do. There's also Code of Conduct Bureau. What they can ask you what are their powers, they can ask you what are their composition, and they can ask you what are their punishments. Under Part 2, they can ask you the role of PAC, Public Account Committee, and the weakness. So what it means is that every aspect of this topic, as boring as it is very, very important. If you carry your past question, all these things that I'm saying, you will see it there. Any question? Any question? Let's talk.
Sir, good evening. I have a question.
Okay, ma.
Good evening. So please, in that park, you said that park works hand in hand with the Auditor General of the Federation, right? Abi Accountant General.
They solely rely on the report of the auditors general. So it is
Yes.
when the auditors general give the report, they will now work
So are
on
they
the
acting
report.
as? I just want to understand. Are they
Okay.
are they acting as checks and balances to the Auditor General? I thought it's the Senate that will check the Auditor General's accounts or records to ascertain if everything is okay. Kindly
So
explain because I'm not understanding it very
okay.
well.
If you see their definition, I said they examine auditors general report, they will investigate the fraud and appropriation, and then they will report the findings to who? To the National or State Assembly. So what they would do is that when it is just a committee, instead of everybody in the Senate sitting down on the report, and some people did not even understand, let's set up some few committee that will review the report, give us what they are finding on that report to the Senate. The Senate will now have the final say on it. So they don't, if you look at their role, the last one I said, they lack executive power. They cannot execute. All what they do is just to show accountability and oversight. So they are not like, they are like a committee. You know, when you have a committee on something, the committee is just to review or check something, then come out with a proper report, and you submit that report to the body that set up that committee. So they are a body set up just to review the Auditor General report, investigate if there is fraud or misappropriation. If there is no, then they will now submit to the National Assembly to take the final decision based on their own findings. Do you understand, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Um, any other question?
Just this one is just a flop. So are we going to get this material soon?
Material. I've sent it to the group. Oh. Is it the material not on the group? Is this material not on the group? I'm asking a question.
Yes, it's on the group.
So,
It's there.
yeah, I've sent it to since before the class said. Okay, Mr. Eki or Mrs. Eki, you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
Evening, ma.
Hello, sir.
I can hear you, ma.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the class. What I want to say, under the characteristics of the judiciary,
Okay.
you make mention of the political neutrality and the security of tenure. What can you expatiate more on that, sir?
On which one?
Under characteristics of the judiciary,
Is it security of tenure?
if you scroll up, you'll see.
Is there? Is on my screen. Which of the characteristic? The one explain?
Okay, the political neutrality
And
and
security of.
security. Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So
Thank
the political neutrality is that you should be neutral. You should not be the chief judge of the country and you are a member of APC. So if they bring a court case, an election case between your party member, you will be what? You will be partial. That is what that political neutrality. You should be neutral. You should not belong to any political party. Because once you belong to one political party, what it means is that your independence has been impaired. Your judgment will be partial. The second one is the security of tenure, meaning that if my tenure is 4 years, let it be secure. In respect of either change of government or whatsoever, my tenure should be secured. No threats. Because if there is threat, and you know most of all those chief judge and the judges, they have family to feed. Once there is stress like this, they can easily succumb.
Oh,
So there should be security in carrying out your assignment. Do you understand now?
thank you
All
very
right.
much.
Any other question? Any other question? Okay, so in the absence of none, please and please, after this class, try to, those areas that I point out to, you know, after the class, I point out some questions that they can set from this topic. Please try to know those areas. Please try to know those areas. As boring as this topic is, it is highly examinable. You know, PSAF is a combination of theory and calculation. And it's even, the exam is much more of theory than calculation. Calculation is about, I think, 2 or 3 questions maximum. 3 questions. The rest is theory. So please, you have to go through the recorded video, read the material, check past question on how they test question. If you see any past question that you see that they test this topic, the question cannot go out of all those areas that I have given you during the course of the class. So in the absence of no question, thank you
Sir,
so
please.
much.
Sorry,
Okay.
sir, please. Sorry, sir,
Okay.
please. Are we having this video this evening?
Depending on when it will drop. So this video takes about, I think, 3 to 4 hours before it drops. So once it drops, maximum, maybe very early tomorrow morning, before I go to church, you have it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful night rest, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.